Every summer, me and my best friend Rebecca go to sleepaway camp. So basically, the third day into camp, a girl woke up in the middle of the night, crying. Everyone woke up and asked her what was wrong. She was white as paper and she had looked like she had just seen a ghost. She said that she had just seen 3 creepy children sitting in the middle of the floor holding hands. Everyone started screaming, but I didn't believe it. Until a girl chimed in and said, "Wait, you've been seeing that too? I thought it was just a dream." Then everyone started going crazy and a camp director even had to come in and check on us. So the next day in archery, we went up to a trusted counselor and we asked her if there were any camp legends about creepy children showing up in the middle of the night. She told us that it wasn't a legend and it was true. 50 years ago, when the camp was originated, there was a crazy cook. He chopped up the children, apparently, and baked them into chicken pot pies. Our counselor told us that these creepy children were the ghost of the children that he put into the chicken pot pie. We all started screaming because how would the girl know if she had never heard the story before? We all knew that it was true and we were spreading the rumor around camp. So that night, when we all went to bed, we kept our flashlights on under the blankets and we waited for our counselors to go to sleep. We looked over the covers at 12 o'clock and in the middle of the floor, there were 3 children holding hands and chanting weird rituals. We all started freaking out. We jumped off of our bunk beds. Most of us fell. And a counselor woke up and she started screaming at us. And apparently it was 3 boys from the boys' cabin that were pranking us because they had heard about the rumor. They were suspended from camp for a week. I mean, that's a pretty good punishment if you ask me. So, yeah, that's my crazy camp story.
When I was in 6th grade, I had the new teacher at school, and she was just fresh out of grad school. She was literally 22 years old. She was really nice, but she kind of just had no idea what she was doing in the classroom. And the whole year, it was just kind of like a roller coaster of up and down emotions. Sometimes she'd get so stressed out and just start crying in the middle of class and would be like, "Oh my God, I'm just so stressed. You guys are just awful." And of course, everyone in my class kind of picked up on the fact that she had no idea what she was doing. So they all just made it worse for her by thinking they could do whatever they wanted. And that just made her cry more and everything just got so stressful. And there was just really no structure in the class. So one day we were in the classroom and we were studying ancient Greece. And suddenly, I just saw her face go completely white. And she was looking at the clock. So me and all the other kids in the class just looked up at the clock too. But instead of it saying the time, it said bell. And I later found out that bell was the code word for a real lockdown. But I didn't know that yet. So my classmates and I just watched as she scrambled to lock the door, close the blinds, and then she instructed us to hide in the corner of the room. And then she just says, "Stay quiet, we're in a lockdown." And she was in tears at this point. She was shaking and she was curled up in the corner behind her desk. This was the moment when I realized this wasn't a lockdown drill. This was an actual lockdown. And I was freaked out. I just straight up asked her, "Are we gonna die?" And she looked at me and as gravely as possible, she said, "I don't know." And that literally just sent the whole class into tears. Some kids were even trying to jump out the window. My teacher was screaming at them that if there's someone in this building, there could be more people outside waiting to get you. I was just freaked out. The whole time, I was literally just thinking about dying. It's so morbid, but I was. And I was thinking about what I hadn't done in my life yet and what more I had to do. And I was basically thinking of my last seconds. And then all of a sudden there's a knock on the door and we all just shot up. We thought this was the intruder. First of all, why would the intruder knock on the door? We all just stay there and we don't know what to do, even my teacher. And then there's another knock on the door and my teacher gets up and she goes to the door and it's another teacher. It's the teacher next door. The teacher next door asks what we're doing. And then my teacher's like, "What? Isn't there a lockdown?" The teacher next door goes, no, they were just fixing the clock and that message came on. So then we all kind of got up from the corner. We were like, wait, there was no lockdown? Then I looked into the hallway and then everything was just normal. Kids were in class, they were laughing, they were walking up and down the hall, doing their homework. There was literally no lockdown. The only class in lockdown was our class.
Since that day, I've experienced a lot more lockdowns. They're really upsetting and scary, and I just wish it wasn't a reality of the world we live in.
My best friend, who we'll call Kayla, wanted me and our other friend, who we'll call Lily, to come over for a sleepover. One of the things we did was watch a bunch of nursery rhymes for kids. I don't know why, but we were watching them anyway. One of them was about a mother cat and her kittens, and the kittens had done something naughty, and the mother cat goes, meow, 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 you shall have no pie. And Kayla stops and she goes, Danny roams the house till like 3 a.m. singing, meow, 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 you shall have no pie. And Lily and I look at each other like, that's creepy. Because Kayla's little brother, Danny, is adorable, not creepy at all. So for him to be singing a song at 3 a.m. in the morning is kind of weird. So we decided to make alternate versions of what he was singing. Like, what if he's saying, meow, 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 I just found the knife. Or what if he's singing, meow, 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 be prepared to die. It's morbid, I know, but I guess it was fun to scare each other. Anyways, it was much, much later. Kayla had been asleep, leaving Lily and I to talk. So it's 2 a.m. and we are talking about ghosts and things like that. And then we look across the hall where Danny's room is. And it has a baby gate in the doorway, which was open. And we both noticed that at the same time. And Lily goes, I'm going to shut that. So she goes over and she shuts and she locks the baby gate. She came back in and we talked for about 10 more minutes when we hear 2 sobs come from the end of the hall. And then a couple seconds of silence. And Lily and I look at each other like, what? And then we hear the sound of Danny getting up and walking to the baby gate. And we hear him laughing. It's weird for a 2-year-old to be laughing at nothing at 2 a.m. in the morning. We're a bit scared when we hear this smash and Lily throws the rug over her head and I look. Danny has thrown the baby gate that was locked and shut. He's thrown it open with such force that it smashed against the wall and he just walks out and I flop onto the bed and pretend to be asleep even though I'm still watching him. And I watch as he looks around and then starts coming towards the room we are in. And Lily and I, we're both pretending to be asleep and we're just like, oh my God, this baby is possessed. How did he do that? So he comes in and he just goes to Lily and he just lays down with her. And we talked for another hour, keeping Danny awake to make sure he was not possessed. And then when it was time to go to sleep, Danny decided he wanted to sleep with me. So I had to sleep with a maybe possessed 2-year-old for the rest of the night.